Hey, MBT Nation. You probably forgot about me. I'm Adam Spack, certified no boring trainer. Haven't done a pop up live in a little while and wanted to check in with NBT Nation because there has been a lot going on. Quick update for you, real quick. Have been very, very busy in the trenches, designing leadership training, designing how to do and conduct effective interviews, delivering a bunch of classroom based training, developing training content, having a lot of conversations with training professionals. Lots going on in the world of NBT. Also, in the world of NBT, writing an ebook. That's right. I decided I didn't have enough to do right now. So I needed to write a book. So excited to work on this project. It's called The Hard Truths of Becoming a Certified No Boring Trainer. What are the core foundational truths that you have to accept to really have effective no boring training? This book is really aimed at the trainers themselves, but it's also appropriate for leaders of organizations out there who really want to move the dial on the business through a training strategy, through strategic learning, as I like to call it. And I'm writing that ebook right now. It's going to be out here fairly soon. I cannot wait to share it with NBT Nation. The hard truths of becoming a certified no boring trainer. Let me know what you think out there, chat. If you find that interesting, drop a comment down below. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up. And if you find content like this interesting and effective, please subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. All that kind of fun stuff. So what brings us back together today, NBT Nation? What are 5 different ways that no boring training aligns an organization? What are the 5 different ways that quality training, strategic learning can really bring an organization together to align that organization around a common strategy, common mission, vision, values, bring the team from all the various departments together? There's 5 very specific ways that strategic training can do this, and I'm going to unveil them, and I'm going to unveil those right now after I have a little quick sip of go juice. All right. I've really missed doing these pop-up lives, so it's really great to see everybody out there. I'm going to turn my light down just a little bit because it seems like it's washing me out and it's distracting me. I got to look beautiful for NBT Nation. So 5 different ways: strategic training, strategic learning, no boring training. 5 different ways that aligns your organizations. And this one is really aimed at the leaders out there. So if you have a leader who you think needs to hear this, please tag them in, share this with them, all that kind of fun stuff. Number 1, quality training aligns your organization because it assumes you have a strategy for your organization. It's working from the premise that your organization has clear strategy, clear mission, vision, values, a clear direction. And that strategy is really aiming the organization in a specific direction, because the strategy for the organization becomes the strategy for the learning to support the execution of that strategy. Those 2 things go hand in hand. And you can't have a learning strategy that's tied to nothing above it. I mean, you can. That's how you end up with a bunch of fractured, disjointed, tactical level, compliance level training down at the team level, or maybe during onboarding at HR. But it becomes very low level, compliance based, tactical level training when it's not tied to a strategy. But that assumes you have a strategy. So for you leaders out there that may listen to this, what's a way that good strategic learning, no boring training helps you align your organization? It works from the assumption that you have a strategy in the first place. And if you don't, we can help you. We can help you to kind of think through that, but you got to have that overarching strategy for no boring training to really take place inside your organization at a strategic level. All right, so that's number 1. Number 2, the second way that no boring training helps align your organization at a strategic level, strategic learning, I like to call it. Quality training starts and assumes that you're doing a proper needs analysis to really understand the organization. Again, we're talking about that strategic learning throughout the organization, learning that lives at the C-suite level to help drive the strategy of the organization forwards. That sort of training demands that you know and understand your organization. You know how the people, process, and technology all fit together. You know that um, how the organization plays together. You've done analysis of people's competency levels, their skill levels, their backgrounds. You have proper leadership in place. You know how the processes of the organization work. You know all of that kind of stuff. All of that has to really be known and understood. And a quality, no boring trainer, a certified no boring trainer is going to go figure all that out, and if you don't already know those answers, that certified no boring trainer will certainly find out those answers for you. So, a natural byproduct of good no boring training inside an organization is that you have to understand how the organization works to be able to effectively design, develop, and deliver that training. And the byproduct of that is the alignment of your organization, because that trainer is going to be getting under the hood. They're going to be asking a lot of questions. They're going to be talking to a lot of people. They're really going to be spending time figuring out, how does that team interact with this team? And how does this team interact with that team? And how does this customer work? And how does all of that stuff, they got to go figure all that out to be a certified no boring trainer. And the byproduct is they can share that with you if you don't already know, or it forces you to go figure it out along the way too. So it's a natural byproduct. All right, we're ticking through the boxes here. 5 ways that no boring training helps align your organization. All righty. Number 3, good training. Good training from a certified no boring trainer demands that they get input from the key leaders and individual contributors in your organization. Just as a natural byproduct of designing and developing training, whether it's some strategic learning initiative or it's some team specific, very tactical level training, either way, they got to go talk to your key leaders. They got to go talk to your frontline contributors. They got to gather a lot of good intelligence and good information. And guess what starts to happen as they start to talk to all the people around the organization? That's right. Now all of a sudden you're getting input, you're getting feedback. It may not be a formal feedback channel. You, as the leader, may already go talk to that team directly, but now your training is providing another pipeline of information direct from the key leaders and key individual contributors in the company. What a fantastic source of information. What will also start to happen is that as you are planning training, you got to get those individual players in the same room and the same conversation. And guess what starts happening? This one talks to that one while we're planning out the training, and they realize, uh-oh, our process isn't in alignment or isn't defined. Uh-oh, we've got a business systems issue. Uh-oh, uh, we've got a technological challenge, whatever. So all those discussions naturally lead to people figuring out and talking to each other just through the byproduct of training. And it's a conduit for information from the trainer back to you as part of the development or the design process, rather, of training. So it's a great communications vehicle inside the organization, and it really fosters good communication. Hopefully, as a leader, you already have direct lines of communication with all the key teams in your organization and all those same people. Hopefully, you already have those, but if you don't, you can get them you can get them via a certified no boring trainer doing their thing as they design, develop, and deliver training. All right, number 4, we're ticking through them. Different ways that a no boring trainer helps align your organization. No boring training helps align your organization. How strategic learning brings the organization together. It assumes, in fact, forces you to nail down your processes. So you talk about people, process, and technology. You cannot do effective training if the process is not nailed down, doctrinal, vetted, tested, documented. All of those things have to happen long before the trainer gets in the room and starts doing their thing. And a certified no boring trainer will not start doing training unless those things have happened. So it's sort of a natural byproduct of a no boring trainer kind of putting their foot down a little bit. But over time, that forces, it teaches the organization that you can't teach a process that doesn't exist. It makes no sense. I've always scratched my head. People want training. Oh, yeah, great. What's your process? What's your procedure? Oh, I don't know. We just, and they usually ramble and kind of vomit up a bunch of information, and none of it makes sense. But they expect everybody to go and do the process or procedure 100% correctly 100% of the time, and they don't even know what it is, let alone have it documented, have it vetted, have it available, etc. A no boring trainer and quality strategic learning in your organizations naturally enforces the documentation and the vetting in the processes inside your organization. If you have a process heavy organization, process heavy team, good quality training by default is going to help you nail all that stuff down. And frankly, it also leads to the enforcement of processes. This is a bit of a subset. One of the biggest things that people like to do is navigate around the processes and procedures in your organization. They love the workarounds. They love the hacks. They love their little special way of doing things, right? Well, guess what? That's a leadership issue of enforcing people following the processes. What's a great way to deal with leadership in your organization to help them, support them, grow them, and develop them? That's right, leadership training. So, leadership training, which is naturally part of strategic learning in the organization, and any good certified no boring trainer can help you put together a leadership training program. Leadership training solves the leadership issue that allows people to navigate around your processes. That's a very simple problem. If people don't follow the processes, that's a leadership problem. They are not enforcing, they are not holding people accountable, they are not holding people to the standard. They need some leadership training to help them have the skills and tools of how to hold people accountable, how to have difficult conversations, how to communicate, how to use radical candor, how to use extreme ownership, how to put these different things into place. Well, that's a byproduct of the quality training, the no boring training from a no boring trainer. So, really nice byproduct there. That's the fourth one. So, let's review the list until I reveal number five. Number one, no boring training forces you to have a strategy for your firm in the first place. You can't attach strategic learning to a business strategy if there ain't one. So, by default, it forces you to have an overarching strategy in your organization. Number two, a no boring trainer by default will do needs analysis and really understand the organization at a deep level, which forces you to either identify gaps in the organization or forces you to learn and understand the organization, or the byproduct is they figure it out and they can kind of feed it back to you. Maybe you're just heads down in the trenches, and you don't really, there's this one piece of the organization where you're not really sure what's going on. Sick a no boring trainer on them. They'll figure it out as a byproduct of doing planning the training, and they can report back to you. But anyway, you will understand the organization when you use no boring training. Thirdly, good training means that you have to get input from your key leaders and your key contributors, which is just a great communication channel inside the organization back to you. It also tends to get people in the room and talking to each other as a byproduct of planning trainings, which drives alignment across the organization. Number four, a no boring trainer demands you have processes in place, processes and procedures before they get trained, which naturally means you have to have the processes and procedures figured out, documented, vetted, tested. And then as a subset of that, you can help leaders to hold people accountable to the processes with some good effective leadership training, which brings me to item number 5, the fifth way that no boring training aligns your organization. It assumes that your people, process, and tech are nailed down. No boring training assumes that your people, your processes, and your tech is all sorted out long before a trainer gets into a virtual session, long before you start creating an e-learning, long before you start doing an explainer video or pull people into a conference room. Your people, process, and tech need to be nailed down. Now, part of people is making sure that they have the skills and the knowledge that they need to be effective in the role, where obviously training comes in. But the other part of the people issue are people who don't want, who are not bought in, who do not have the willingness to commit themselves to the role, to the following the mission, vision, values of the organization. They're not bought into the strategy. They are not complying with the processes and procedures of the firm. None of that is a training problem. That is 100% a leadership and accountability problem. So until you get that sorted out, training really isn't going to do much to help them with that issue. People also assumes that you've got the people in your organization who that you understand the needs of that audience. So in other words, if you understand their background, you understand their education level, language, all of these sorts of things, you have to get that sorted out and understood, again, long before you start worrying about training. So just some different things to think about on the people side of things. Then we've already covered process and the last point, and then you get down to technology. You know, if your business systems don't work, training isn't going to solve that. You launch a new CRM, a customer relationship module or management system for your sales team, but it doesn't work. It's all sorts of screwed up. Training does not solve that problem. If you need to do a bunch of virtual training, but nobody's laptop can connect to the Wi-Fi, that's a problem. If you have 39 systems that are all homegrown, they don't talk to each other, and they're very antiquated. Do you see the trend here? Training is not going to unravel that problem. Getting all that stuff in line then sets the stage for training to come along. You have to pull all those 39 systems together. Maybe you find some new system that replaces all of those. Well, guess what? Now you have to do training as part of the implementation to solve all those 39 systems that are antiquated and don't talk to each other. If the CRM is a mess, you got to get that sorted out long before you start really training people on how to use it effectively. Certainly long before you talk about leveraging the CRM for efficiency and innovation gains. So you can't even do that piece, let alone you can't even do the how do you use it, let alone how do we use this to make business decisions and draw information. You can't get to that because the thing don't work in the first place. So fix the thing. So you can start to see how these things come together. So the fifth way that no boring training can align your organization is it no boring training assumes that your people, your process, and your technology is all nailed down and sorted out, or at least you're heading in a good direction before you're worrying about the training piece attached to those items. And in some of those cases, training is not the appropriate response anyway, and shouldn't even be on the table, shouldn't be discussed. So there you have it. Strategic learning in the hands of a skilled, no boring trainer, a certified no boring trainer, can really help drive alignment in your organization. They can really be a partner to you. This is why I always like to say your chief learning officer should be in that C-suite. And if they're not a C suite role, at least attached to somebody in the C suite, because business or learning should be done at a strategic level throughout the organization. And when you approach it that way and you have a skilled, certified, no boring trainer at the helm, guess what? You can start to tie all of these pieces together. And the byproduct is alignment across the organization. So there you have it, my friends. Thank you for joining me, all you fine folks out in NBT Nation. Love these pop-up lives. Hopefully you find them interesting. If you watch the replay, leave me some comments. Let me know what you think. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget the new ebook. I'm writing it right now. The Hard Truths of Becoming a Certified No Boring Trainer. It's in the works right now. I cannot wait to get it out into the wild so that you can enjoy it, and you, whether you're a trainer or a leader, can use that to really overhaul, to transform your training, to enable excellence and align an organization. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. It's been great. Adam Spact here, and absolutely can't wait to interface with MBT Nation more. Leave me some comments down below.